Hi everyone, welcome to today's class. And in this class, we're talking about sales. Interestingly, we're looking at it from the Bible. And I have my notes with me here because I have so many things I want to share with you. And I hope that you don't just watch this video and move on. I want this video to be that video that moves you to take action for your business and to get better, or maybe at least get comfortable with selling your products and your services. So if you're ready, get your pen and your notebook because you're about to take notes. So we're looking at sales, and I'm calling this class the Ultimate Sales Foundation because I want this to be a class for new business owners or small business owners who have been in the business for a couple of time now. Let's say 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. You're still trying to get comfortable with selling your products. You don't want to feel guilty every time you put up a post or you talk about your products. Do you understand? So we're looking at this from John chapter 4 in the Bible. And backstory, this is the story of Jesus and the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman, and we all know the story. If you want to have a picture or a video of the story in your head, you can watch the movie The Chosen, right? And it's just a story of Jesus and his disciples going to another city, and they decided to pass through Samaria. And when he got there, he sent his disciples into the city to get food while he sat at the well. At the well at noontime, he met this Samaritan woman, came to draw water from the well, and she had this encounter with Jesus. Why am I picking business sales lessons from this story? I'm picking sales lesson from this story because it is practical, and it was a moment where I felt like Jesus was trying to make someone an offer. The first point, right, that I have here that will help you get comfortable with your selling or with selling is one, positioning. When we're talking about positioning, we're looking at your customer, the place you're selling your products and your services, and the time, right? So we know that Jesus moved from where he was to Samaria, and he had to sit at the well. Particularly, he sat there around noontime. Understanding timing is very important when we talk about sales. And another thing that played out there was the lady coming to the well, and Jesus knew exactly what he wanted to offer her. He knew that this was someone that he was called for. The Bible tells us that he didn't come for the perfect ones, he came for sinners. So know your customer. It's very important that you know who your product is for. And when you see them, you can tell, right? Or when you have conversations with them over time, you can tell that this is a particular pain that they are facing, and your brand has the solution. When we talk about positioning, we're talking about knowing your customer, KYC, right? Know where they are and know when they hang out in those places. I'll take that again. Know your customer, know where they are, and know when they hang out in those places. So KYC, where, that is place, and then when, that is timing. So in my notes, I said the person your brand was created for, the person you had in mind while creating your products and services, where are they hanging out? Where are they currently going to look for fair, available solutions, solution to your problem that your brand is solving? Is there a particular time they go there? So for instance, when the weather is hot, we want to get cold drinks or ice cream. Sunny Saturdays, we want to be at the beach, we want to hang out at the beach. Friday night, some people want to go to the clubs, some people want to go to prayer meetings, and then Sunday we want to go to church. So there are places and there are timing, right? There are places that people normally hang out, and there is always a particular time people hang out. We've looked at positioning, and inside positioning, we're looking at your customer, where they are, and when they normally hang out in those places. You may be wondering how this can be applied, in the online space, right? So for instance, talking about knowing your customer, you have to have a clear breakdown of your ideal client, right? You have to have a clear breakdown of your ideal customer avatar. At least three. Break it down into three people or three persons that most likely would need your product, or most likely need your product, or the people that your products were created for, right? A, B, C. And I'm saying three because you can't just limit your ideal client's avatar to just one avatar. There can be a lot of differences. You can go into creating an ideal client avatar in another detailed class, but you need to know that, okay, our product was created for people like this, and people like this. Now, when you are clear on that, you want to talk about where they currently hang out. Young men or young intelligent men, or will I say young guys generally, they hang out on Twitter. They feel comfortable on Twitter. I don't know why, but I feel like Twitter has a lot of male audience. So if you want to sell something like gadgets, footwears, luxury perfumes, Twitter is a good space, if you ask me, like from what I know. And then if you want to target, like if your audience are like young babes, young girls, young ladies, and those millennials that are still struggling to be Gen Zs, all of that. Think about TikTok. TikTok is a very nice place. They were looking at the millennials, the rich aunties, the big aunties, the mature women. Look at Instagram and YouTube. A lot is happening in the YouTube comment section, in case you don't know. So there are different platforms that you can find these people on. That is the place. And then when they hang out there, very important. Maybe when their favorite creator has made a post, or when, a lot of us were on YouTube the other day when Dima came back to YouTube. A lot of us came back, so that's a timing thing. And then, especially when the creators that they follow, the communities that they belong to, when they are active, you most likely find them there. So that is how you can bring it to the online space. But bear in mind that if there's no social media today, how will you sell your product? It's a very important question that I want you to have at the back of your mind, because I know that we are quick to limit ourselves and just stay with social media. But sales is not just happening on social media. Sales happen offline. So think about how you can get comfortable with selling offline and not just online. So another point I want us to look at is point number 2, which I call initiate. At the end of the class, this might sum into a good acronym, but the first one is P, which is positioning, and we broke that down into 3 parts. And the second one is initiate. This is your sales conversation starters, right? This is the point where you need to start getting comfortable. In that story in the Bible where Jesus met this woman, the first thing he said was, "Give me water. Can you give me water to drink?" It was a good conversation starter. And sales is like something that flows into a conversation. It starts from a conversation and it ends with someone giving you their money. So initiate. You must get comfortable with initiating. You can ask questions, right? You can make requests, and you can give compliments. Ask questions like, "Oh, how are you? Is this dress from this brand? Oh my God, I like it." So just think of creative questions. How are you feeling today? But think of creative questions that will be conversation starters, for you when you are getting into a sales conversation. Another one you can do is to make a request. "Oh, please, can I get the contact of your hair plug? Your hair is so fine, I love it. Can I get your skincare plug? Or what skincare brand are you using?" So the first one I said was ask questions. Sometimes it starts with a question. The second one is you can make requests. The third one is you can make a compliment. All these things are just things that just get the conversation to start, and you guys get comfortable, because sometimes sales conversation can be a lot of back and forth where they're asking you questions, you're asking them questions, and more like a little getting to know each other. And it takes me to this point where I want to talk about what questions does your brand answer? What are the questions that your brand answers? If I'm looking for a perfect skincare brand for dark skin girls, is that the answer that your brand has? Like, is your brand the answer to this question, right? what are the questions that your brand answers to? I hope that makes a lot of sense, right? Because, you know, with this particular story we are looking at, the lady asked Jesus a lot of questions, and they had like some back and forth, and till they got, you know, to the point of closing the deal. You have to initiate, you have to start it, you have to get comfortable with starting the sales conversation. At the end of the day, you're the one that knows that the whole aim of this conversation is to get them to buy, right? But you don't have to always make it look, you know, direct, and, you know, especially when you're trying to create that connection. And like I normally say, when you connect well, you sell more. So it is always in the connection. And from my note, I wrote that your prospects, they have questions, they have doubts, and they have other options to choose from. Why should they pick you? Do you have to get to a point where you need to make them an offer, right? And you can't answer the question of why they should pick you if you don't know your product. So I don't know if we are seeing how this number 2 is breaking down into different, you know, areas. I talked about initiating, right, starting the sales conversation, and I started talking about questions that your brand, you know, that your brand is the answer to, and, you know, getting comfortable with the back and forth sometimes, not all the time, but getting comfortable with the back and forth, you know. And this is a point where you need to know your product very well. In that story in the Bible, Jesus was not bluffing when he said, I'm going to give you water, and if I give you this water, you will never thirst again. He was not bluffing. It was confidence, and it was coming from knowing what he has. You know, he was coming from knowing what he's about to offer the lady. So you have to be that confident in your product. You have to know your product very, very well, so that when you're selling it, you're not shaking, you're not bluffing, you are, you know, stating the facts. There are 3 questions that I wrote here that will help you make a better offer, you know. So I hope that you take them down and you're able to answer it for your business. The first one is, why your brand? Why? Like, out of all the other options that they have, why your brand? Question number 2, why they should get your products? Yes, why should they get your products? And question number 3, why they should get your products now? Okay, so lead me to talking about having a clear understanding of your unique selling proposition. Having a clear understanding. Again, Jesus was not bluffing. He knew what he was offering. When he said he will give you water, that when you take it, you will never thirst, he was not bluffing. He meant every word. Do you understand? So I wanted to have that kind of confidence when you're selling your products to people. So what makes you unique and different and, you know, outstanding from every other brand out there? What is your unique selling proposition, right? It's something that you need to pay attention. So I wrote some examples of unique selling propositions here, and I'm going to read them to you. The first one is for a skincare brand. And this skincare brand is saying that their unique selling proposition is that they are a botanical skincare brand, and their products are made with pure African herbs. They want your skin to glow from within, you know, more like you are feeding your skin. So they call themselves the skin food. Their brand, they are your skin food. They talk about botanical skincare. They talk about pure African herbs. There is no chemical. They work with pure African herbs, right? And they are just your skin food. They just want you to glow like you're feeding your skin the best. This other unique selling proposition is from a perfume brand. They said, we are a brand of curated scents, not just curated scents, but curated luxury scents from around the world. And we've paid attention to the Nigerian climate because we believe your fragrance should last as long as your presence. So they know that the weather in Nigeria is a bit hot and sometimes extreme, you know, when it's too cold and when it's too hot. So they are not just, you know, they've not just gone to pick perfume brands, you know, just because they want you to sell. While they were picking those perfumes, they picked with the Nigerian weather in mind, so that because they want a perfume to last as long as your presence. That is awesome. The next brand here is a sleepwear brand, and it said, luxury sleepwear brand made from breathable, skin-loving fabrics that moves with your dreams. So they're trying to let you know that you don't have to, in fact, you're wearing the clothes, but it's as good as you're naked. Like, you're so comfy, and you go to bed and it's moving, it's sleeping, and the fabrics are breathable. Awesome. Another USP here is from a fashion brand, and it says unique statement pieces, limited drops only, because we don't want you to see another person wearing your clothes. This is a very fantastic USP. Guys, you have to pay attention to what makes you different, what makes you outstanding from every other option that your prospect might have. And then the last one here is a food brand. It said, fresh from my little garden, homegrown ingredients, taste so much like your mommy's food, or even better, with a modern twist. So you can come up with a lot of USPs, but the reasons why I'm giving you like options, especially with different brands, is because I want you to know that there is always something unique about your brand. Yes, whether you're buying jewelries and reselling, whether you're getting perfumes and reselling, craft the brand, craft your USP in a way that when you communicate it to people, they know that the brand was built for them. Right? So let's go back to the next point. The next point I wrote here is C, connect. Connect. Get comfortable with the back and forth, right? Get comfortable with the back and forth. Now, this is the point where you need to just, it's not about you. At this point, it's not about you. It's about the person. Jesus focused on this lady a lot. Guys, this lady felt like, she felt so seen. She felt so heard. She was like, who is this person that knows me so well? And it really melted her heart, really warmed her heart. And she was like, okay, oh yeah, are you the Messiah? Tell me. Now, she came down. So when I wrote this, what came to my mind was like, this is that level where it is not about you as a business owner. Now there is a proper back and forth. And most times, it is the person trying to buy from you, trying to communicate and tell you how they are feeling, all of the things going on in their head, and why they would have to choose another brand. So I want to talk about a moment where I worked in a luxury boutique and I was able to close a sales on WhatsApp. And this might look like a very simple, easy story. Oh, can sell on WhatsApp. What's there? But I know that one thing that made it easy for this lady to make that transfer, she bought a dress of 150,000 naira, and I know that what really moved her to make that purchase was the way I handled the whole situation. So she reached out to our brand. I was working as a personal assistant in a luxury store, and this was just for 24 hours. Don't ask me what happened, but yeah. And they were like, oh, Rita, you're good with social media, can you please handle our social media for today? So I took the phone and I was going through, and I found out that she already she sent a message, in the company phone for some days, and nobody has responded. So I picked up the conversation. First, she didn't want to reply because I noticed that she read the message and she ignored. And then she came after to say that, oh, that why are we responding now? And she complained, and she laid her complaints and all that. And she was like, okay, let me see what you have. And I know that it's easy for you to like send pictures, which are great. These are great things to do. Send them product pictures that you have. But in a situation whereby you have the products with you, I would suggest that you make a video, a live video, right? So I sent her, pictures of dresses that we had. She was looking to get a bubu. And she was like, oh, she pointed at a particular fabric, a particular outfit. And she was like, can I see what the fabric looks like? So I asked her, do you want me to call you on video call to show you because I'm in the store currently, or would you want me to make a video and send to you? She was like, oh, a call is fine. So we went on a video call, and I took her around, the store, and showed her the particular fabric and the material. I think it was damask or miocado or one of them. But again, I had to know the names of these things because before I was able to sell it, so that I don't flop. You get? It's about I'm talking about knowing your product. We talked about it earlier. So we did the whole back and forth on the call. and she decided on that particular one. And we got to a point where she was, not sure of her size, and I was like, okay, please, can you send me a recent picture so that I can see your size and know what to recommend to our tailors, because she wanted her own dress made to order. When she sent her picture, I got the picture and I recommended her size. But before that, I went ahead to compliment her. I said that she looked so beautiful, and actually she looked so beautiful. She's a very beautiful young woman, and I mean, seeing that picture, you could not just see that picture and just pick the size and ignore the beauty. So I complimented her, and she felt so flattered. She laughed. She was so happy. Like, in fact, I'm going to make payment now. She's like, oh, are you new here? She felt really happy. She's like, oh, I've not really gotten a compliment in a long time, and this made me smile today. Thank you so much. And that was how she made payments. So again, I will always say, when you connect well, you sell more. So here again, it's not about you. I want you to focus on the person. And at this point here, if they don't buy, it's fine. Just let them know that you see them, you have them in mind, and you understand their problem. That for point number C, and I wrote here, fully interested in the person and not just their money. That's how I wrote it in my notes. Be fully interested in the person and not just their money, right? State what you can offer and be very transparent and honest. Why they should choose you over other options they may have. What is so final or perfect or distinct with your product, and what is in it for them, right? Okay, so the next point is S, which is what? Sell. At this point, when they are like, okay, I want to buy, give me this living water, give me this product, give me this perfume that you've talked about like this so much, I want to buy. Make it easy for them to buy. Guys, sometimes our sales process, or our payment process sometimes can be so long or so bulky or so stressful. Make it easy for your people to buy. If you have to get a website, if you have to upload your products on your WhatsApp business catalog, you have to host on some platforms, maybe like Shopify, Mainstack, Bumper app, like, just make it easy, make the process seamless, right? When it's time to sell. When it's time to sell. Let them know the price. If they have a discount, maybe they have a first timer discount, let them know the account details to pay into. Give them like options or platforms where they should just go and pay, or directly give them the account number. Just sell. Don't overthink it. Don't talk about positioning, initiate, connect, sell, and now I'm talking about request. Now you're going to request for a referral. Jesus did this. It didn't end at telling her that he's going to give her living water. Jesus told her, go and call your husband. Go and tell people about that you've seen the Messiah. So don't let your customers, keep you keep your brand as their best kept secret, right? They've experienced you, and they must tell people about you. So request, okay? Request that they tell people about you. And sometimes you can entice them, can be like, oh, when you tell people about us, you get this percentage of your next order. I know a particular brand. One time, some years ago, I referred someone to buy from them, and after the person bought, they called me like, oh, we want to send you a token for the referral. They sent me a percentage of what the person bought, and it may not work for everybody, but like, these are like just little incentives. It can be data, it can be some percentage of their next order. Just tell them to go and tell people about your brand. The sales does not just end with them. It actually begins with them. So when they buy, they should tell another person. So yeah, I hope this is insightful. I hope this makes some sense, right? And I hope to see you in the next class.